Welcome back to Adventures in Search and Rescue in the mountains of northern New Mexico. This mission, which we've called Cabresto Lake, started out with which would have appeared to be a relatively simple rescue. A young woman hiking with an experienced group had twisted her ankle severely and couldn't walk out. One of the group left to call for rescue, and a rescue team was organized. A hasty team of 3 people from Santa Fe Search and Rescue were dispatched immediately. I was operations section chief on this particular mission, and they went up to where the subject was, approximately 4 miles out. As reported, the initial part of the hike out to her was relatively level, and the second part was extremely steep. When they got to her, one of our EMTs assessed her, realized that she could not walk out, and called for a litter. Well, that was in the process of being delivered. The weather came in. It started to snow and rain and freeze. The subject became very cold. They propped her up against a tree, covered her with space blankets, and the EMT, she entered under there to keep the subject warm with body heat. The other 2 did jumping jacks and everything else they could do to stay warm. One of them searched for a potential helicopter landing site, but as he realized, that was impractical because of the weather, and in reality, the subject's injury was not life-threatening. Eventually, the litter arrived with numerous other people, and because it was such a steep descent, they had to set up various safety lines to get the subject, after she was packaged in the litter, down to the more relatively level part. And so they had to set up various safety lines to get her down to the first part. That took a considerable amount of time, though the experience of the Atalaya and Tahoe search and rescue people were extremely beneficial in tying secure lines to quickly get her down. And that's when the mission really took on a more difficult aspect. To litter her across the relatively level path became extremely difficult because it was so narrow, basically on a shelf, that various members had to climb down and hold the litter in place as it was being slid across the ground so that it wouldn't fall over. And obviously in doing that, they had to take the wheel off the litter, get to a point where they could put it back on, and repeat that process numerous times, thus extending the time of extraction. Fortunately, this was in the dark, and the team didn't realize just how precarious the position was for the people on the downside holding the litter in place. It was an extremely deep drop-off, and fortunately, no one was injured. Ultimately, the teams returned to incident base, and because of the extended period of time and the exhaustion level, some of the more stronger search and rescue people were literally carrying the packs for the others who became exhausted. Fortunately, upon return, the planned section chief had called one of the local grocery stores, Smith's Groceries, and got them to donate fried chicken, potato salad, and other goodies, of which I know that the ground pounders that came in were extremely appreciative. After we got the subject in and the teams were debriefed, everybody got in their vehicles and drove home, which in hindsight may have not have been the best decision made by them or those of us on the IMT, and should have been mandated a 30-minute or 1-hour nap, if they could, in their vehicles before driving home. But again, fortunately, there was no injuries or accidents, and so all turned out well. Till next time.